Namaskar. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh to this week's special This Week with Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Doctor, sir, welcome. Namaste.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
So as we begin this week's series of communication, I must bring to your attention that with vaccination and with stimulation package from the White House, one concern which has been expressed by a spokesperson from White House that this stimulation package may lead to inflation. How this sits with you? Do you think that possibility exists, or
Yes, there is a possibility because it's a very large amount of sum of money government is infusing in the market. So it may lead to the inflation. So I think now is done. So what they have to do, the Fed has to monitor now very closely and make sure if there is a sign of inflation, they have to raise the interest rate, and that's only way to curtail the inflation. Otherwise, inflation can go run wild, and it may end up having a more problem down the road.
so as a consumer, this is likely to bring additional challenges because if you want to buy a house, then again, if interest rate goes up, that would be a problem. And in general, what do you think could be the precaution as an entrepreneur to sort of face this potential increase in the inflation?
Well, because if inflation increases, it means all the value of the or cost of the all goods goes up, and the value of your money goes down. So it's a fundamental thing, and therefore, whatever money you have, your money cannot buy what you are buying now. So because value of the money goes down, and therefore, inflation is a not good thing to happen, and therefore, I think Fed has to tighten up the interest rate as soon as they see the indication that inflation is kind of creeping up.
So it's an delicate balance which is needed.
Fed has to
And
do it, right?
absolutely. And there is the need of balance everywhere, and especially when we coming from New York are looking at the developments related to Governor of New York, many women coming forward and sort of accusing him of inappropriate behavior. In this context, White House and President Biden also said that let the investigation take its course, and many people are demanding his resignation. What do you think about this whole scenario, and do you think he should resign at this point? Your thoughts?
I think, I mean, it can cut both ways in a sense that, I mean, everyone is innocent till unless it's proven. And so good investigation, thorough investigation is the right thing to do. But again, if that investigation can go on for another year or two, and right now we are in the pandemic, and a lot of important things to taken care of by governor. So then whole state can get paralyzed, sort of administrative wise, and that's also not good for New York State, and therefore it's very difficult call. But I think investigation has to be done. Unless something comes up very damaging, then probably a good thing for him, for Democratic Party, that he should resign and move forward.
So, just staying at this scenario, if he resigns, is it not indirect admission that he acted in inappropriate manner? So maybe till he's in the office, he psychologically have the feeling that he has some say in the way things are proceeding. I'm just loudly thinking with you, and what might be happening in his mind in terms of deciding to stay on with all these people calling him to
No,
resign.
because nobody wants to damage tarnish their own image, and if it is this whole allegations has no substance in it, We don't know if somebody did the allegation doesn't mean anything. So then I think he has all right to ask for a good investigation and go through investigation. Doesn't matter. Of course, there will be a kind of fallout from that. Democratic Party may lose election next year and next time. Governor may be Republican governor there, or administration suffers. Pandemic management of the pandemic will suffer, and a lot of problem. I mean, a lot of damages or a lot of side effects of that whole thing. So I think governor himself has to decide which way he wants to go, and he knows the fact himself that whether these allegations are right or wrong. And if he thinks that it's not right, or he has a kind of evidence, or he knows the true story, then I think he should not resign and let the investigation go on.
So I think, as you said, it could be this way or that way, but he's not resigning. And I want to stay with this because this I think is sometimes difficult for a common man to understand. Someone who is so well in terms of handling of the COVID related situation with his excellent press conference, for which he has even been nominated for some prestigious awards from on television. So he, if acts in this way, just assuming that he acts in this way, and we have seen many cases of this kind where powerful people were blamed, and even Bill Cosby is, I think, behind the bars, and things like that have happened. So what happens in the mind of men who are in the position of power, if you try to analyze as per your observation, and there is good and bad together in a man's mind?
Well, I mean, when somebody is in the power, they kind of they exert that authority of the power to the subordinate, and the subordinate cannot resist it, or cannot say denied it, or cannot push back, because they are always afraid of that power of the person, their own job, their own livelihood, and so many other things. So that's why the person who is in the power are not supposed to take advantage of the person who works for them, or who is subordinate. And that's why it's called sexual harassment. Why
And
it called harassment? Because being in power, you cannot use your power or perception of the power to intimidate someone.
absolutely. And just one more question related to this, regarding the women who have accused. And there are 4 or 5 women now, which kind of gives you a trend about his potential behavior. Again, we don't know. But then the question comes about the women when she's facing that moment. At that time, they remain silent. That way, it reduces their credibility, or do you think that is natural because she's more scared at that point and she has a lot to lose? Or what do you think about this
No,
from
because
women's
I
point of
mean,
view?
no, because that's what exactly whole underlying problem is, that it's very difficult to raise the voice against the power, quote unquote power. So, and that's why they don't, usually they don't raise the voice. And sometimes they think that, okay, this has happened one time, and there's nothing to it, and they move on. And or if it keeps bothering them, then obviously they come out, and that's what happened is in this case. And I think most of the allegations are not that uh, kind of they are serious, but it's kind of day to day happening in the American culture. So we don't know, but couple of that allegation, the latest allegation for physical assault, it's definitely no.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I appreciate that analysis, Dr. Saab. We now move towards another area of Quad meeting, first virtual after 2007, probably, in which President Biden participated, his counterparts from Japan, Australia, as well as Prime Minister of India also participated. How do you see significance of this Quad meeting in terms of the future collaboration between these nations on technology as well as climate change?
Well, it's a great opportunity and great progress, because this Quad organization is meant for balancing the power of between USA and China, and by having this kind of organization, whenever there is an emergency, whenever there is a calamity, wherever there is a need, economical need, this kind of body can resolve so many problems, because they have a chance to meet one-on-one at the highest level of administration. And that's, so this is a good thing one can happen, like G7, G20, and this is Quad. So is a different players are in the different group. So I think it's a great idea to have to happen.
And staying with America in today's session, the final question relates to increase in the inflow of children without their parents on the borders of America. And the policies of Biden administration are different than the policy of President Trump's White House. So how do you see this as a problem and the way it is being handled?
Well, I think Biden policy is completely different about immigration. He believes in open immigration, but again, every issue has two sides. I mean, open immigration is a good for children whose parents are kind of they're separated from their parents, but in the same time, this can be used to push a few more children here who never their parents were never been here or separated. So we don't know, and I think now Biden administration is feeling the heat for this, because it makes more chaotic and more unruly and out of order, and every country has to have some kind of immigration order or border or some regulations that who can come, who cannot come, and how they can come. So I think probably in long run, this may do uh, good, but also same time it may backfire on administration because of the kind of sheer nature of the problem. Because it's difficult to, once you open up the border, it's difficult to control right people and separate the right people from the wrong people.
Absolutely. Again, delicate balance is needed. And on that note, where the significance of balance in every reference comes to the forefront, as we conclude your parting words from today's show for our viewers.
Well, I mean, dear friends, again, I would like to remind everyone and suggest that pandemic is still here. We must follow the guideline of CDC guidelines in our day-to-day life, and get vaccinated whenever you get a chance to get vaccinated. All vaccines are safe, all vaccines are effective, and all vaccines are must to control this pandemic. So please do that. God bless America. God bless India. And God bless Indian American. Thank you. Jai Hind.